Now I know what you're thinking. Hey Vic, you're doing another episode of Quiz Comics? Is this one going to be better than the one before? Well, I'll answer that question by saying, yeah, buddy! Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Well, here we are. First episode of 2015, and I have quite a few things I want to talk about, but first, I just want to clarify why all the Carolina Blue. Well, you see, this past Sunday, we lost one of the greatest, probably, if not the greatest sports anchor, then one of the greatest sports anchors of all time, and I'm talking about Stuart Scott. He passed away, and the reason why is because I'm wearing all the Carolina Blue is because he graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in the 80s. And so this is my way of paying tribute to him. Okay, I have a few things I want to talk about. So now, it's time for me to tell you what's going on. Alright, it's 2015, therefore it's a new year. And I don't know about a lot of you, but I really don't have any New Year's resolutions. The only thing that I always say is that I just try to make this better year, make this year better than the year before. I try to do things better than I did before. I'm not really specific. I mean, it could be anything. It could be reading, collecting comics for me. It could be my job. It could be playing the piano, playing trumpet, what have you. Whatever I always do, I try to, whenever a new year comes, I try to do it a lot better than before. And that's what I encourage you all to do. You should all, this is a new year, so whatever you do, whether it's work, whether it's a hobby, whether it's, being in a relationship, being married, being parents, or anything, I encourage you to do things better than you did the year before. All right. And also, I just want to talk a little bit more about Stuart Scott. I know this is a web series devoted to comics, but I just want to let you all know it from a standpoint of the host of a web series. He is one of about 4 or 5 people who actually inspired me to do this show, as far as being yourself. Because one thing that Stuart Scott was always about, he always prided himself on being himself, and he didn't really care what others thought about him. And I can remember the last time I stopped doing the show. I was a little discouraged about one view in episode 40, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I just lost the will to do it. But I remember watching a repeat of the ESPYs that came out a few months before that, and Stuart Scott had ended up winning the Jimmy V Award for Perseverance. And I watched and I listened to what he said. And then I started getting the feeling, okay, if this man who is battling cancer can drive all the way out to LA, get on the stage full of about thousands of people and millions of viewers, then surely I could do my web series. And so I'm going to make this solemn promise. And I guess you can call it an impromptu New Year's resolution or what have you, but I am going to keep doing this show until I am physically unable to. Not emotionally unable to, not mentally unable to, when I am physically unable to do this show. All right, up next is Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! All right, first thing I want to talk about, it really isn't a comic series, but it's a comic book related TV show, and I'm talking about the premiere of Agent Carter. It came out last night on ABC. I recorded it because I was a little late getting back from work, but then I watched it and I thought, yes, this. I don't know if it's going to be successful than Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or even better than Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's good nonetheless. And I can't wait till the next episode to watch. Oh, and I also watched the teaser trailer to the movie Ant-Man. I had mixed feelings about it. Here's why. You see, right now in the comics, Ant-Man is Scott Lang. Well, in the movie, Paul Rudd's character is Dr. Scott Lang as well. But I would think that the way Marvel would go about, doing the movie, I thought that the Ant-Man was going to be Dr. Hank Pym and not Scott Lang. But I'm still debating on whether I want to see that. I mean, right now I can't really tell whether I want to or not. Oh, and also I found out a few days ago that there is going to be another X-Men spin-off movie. And the movie is going to be about Gambit. I was excited about hearing that until I found out who was playing Gambit, and that's Channing Tatum. To me, Channing Tatum is too short and too built to play Gambit. I mean, as we all know, Gambit, his character is from New Orleans. And, the one thing, reading Gambit in the pages of X-Men, I always, saw him to be this tall, somewhat skinny guy who I mean, Channing Tatum, like I say, is too short and too tall. When they casted Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights to play him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, I thought that was perfect. And I went to see the movie, and it was. But, I'm sure whoever's producing the show and who did the casting, I just hope that the person that did this casting wasn't the person who did the casting in The Hulk that came out in 2003. Because whoever did the casting, whoever wrote the script, and then Ang Lee, all those folks should not be even allowed to, in my opinion, to direct or write or produce a movie, any movie, much less a comic book movie. I mean, they ruined the Hulk almost like I'm trying to think who. Just like Zack Snyder ruined Man of Steel. I mean, the movie was. I mean, let me tell you, I do not like Man of Steel for his reason. The movie was perfect all the way until near the end, when Superman snapped Zod's neck and killed him. Now, I said this before in episode 19, and if you watch that episode, I want you to say it with me: Superman doesn't kill. Just saying. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Up first is Hulk number 10. Now, what's going on in here is that ever since Tony Stark had the Extremis virus surgically inserted into Bruce Banner's brain, the Hulk has pretty much, he's been green the entire time, and not only does not like people to call him Bruce Banner, refer to him as Bruce Banner, he also doesn't like people to refer to him as the Hulk. He likes people to refer to him as Doc Green. And throughout this time, Doc Green has been has set out to do one thing, and find a cure for gamma radiation being in someone's genetic makeup. And he found it. And what does he do next? Does he insert himself with it? Nope. He goes around and finds just about every gamma-powered person he was ever befriended, starting with Rick Ross, aka A-Bomb. He used it on him, and he is no longer has gamma radiation. Then Goes after his son Scar. Does the same thing. And then goes after Red She-Hulk, who happens to be his ex-wife, Betty Ross. Does the same thing. And now, he's going up against Red Hulk. And for those of you who don't know who Red Hulk is, he's actually General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, the Hulk's ex-father-in-law, and the person that has sworn his entire military career to destroying the Hulk. And so after so many failed attempts, he decided to become something that he's not. But in this issue, it could easily come to an end. And I say this every time there's a book where these two guys go up against each other. As Michael Buffer would say, let's get ready to rumble! All right, up next is Action Comics number 38. Now, what's going on in here? Oh, by the way, before I go on, this is actually a Flash anniversary cover of Flash anniversary variant cover, 75th anniversary actually, and DC is doing this all month in most of their books. But anyway, in Action Comics number 38, Superman. I'm sorry, I said Flash because it's on the cover, but Superman returns to his hometown of Smallville and finds out that there were some ramifications from the story arc before, and it's up to him to stop it. All right, up next is The Amazing Spider-Man number 12. Now, this is part 4 of the Spider-Verse story arc that's going on in the book, where Moreland and his family are going to different dimensions to killing that dimension's Spider-Man. And so far they've killed quite a few of them, but then there were some who survived and have teamed up with our Peter Parker Spider-Man, and also a time displaced Superior Spider-Man, which is Peter Parker, aka Dr. Otto Octavius. And it's up to them to stop it. And so far there have been a few casualties. And even the Miles Morales, the Spider-Man from the Ultimate Marvel books, is also featured in here as well. Oh, Spider-Ham is in it too, for all you folks, all you kids from the 80s like me. All right, up next is Detective Comics number 38. Now, I'm a little behind on Detective Comics. Oh, this is also a Flash 75th anniversary variant cover as well. I'm a little behind on the Flash because I'm still trying to read. There's still other books I'm trying to read, but from the first few issues that I've read since Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato took over the book, I mean, the artwork and storytelling is amazing, and I can't wait to finally read this. And as soon as I get, and this is going to hold true for every book that I read. For every book I catch up on, in a comically speaking story arc, in future episodes on the comically speaking story arcs, I will keep you up to speed with those. Oh, and one other New Year's resolution: get caught up on all the books that I haven't read yet. All right, up next is Green Lantern number 38. This is an issue that is the fallout from the Godhead story arc, where the where all the lanterns, much less the Green Lanterns, are all going up against the New Gods. And this is also a Flash 75th anniversary cover as well. And I'm still in the middle of. I mean, I'm almost done with reading all the books that serve as chapters in the in the Godhead story arc, and I will let you know in next week's episode how that all turns out and what happens in here. All right, up next is Spider-Man 2099. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is the Spider-Man from the year 29. It's not Peter Parker, it's Miguel O'Hara, and he's time displaced in our time, and he's now going as instead of Miguel O'Hara, he's going around as Michael O'Mara, and he's also kind of protecting his grandfather, Tiberius Stone, and he's also part of the 2099 saga. He's actually one of the spiders that was recruited to stop Moreland and his family of spider killing. And lastly, X-Men number 23. Now I'm still a little behind on X-Men 2 because if you watched the last few episodes, I bought a bunch of books of X-Men. I'm caught up buying it. I'm just not caught up reading it. And as soon as I'm done, I will let you know in the Comically Speaking segment in a future episode. Alright, that's 7 I bought, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 6,625. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And just remember what I said earlier. Try to do things better this year than you did the year before. I mean, sometimes, and I've talked about that before. And I mean, it could be anything. It could be, like I said before, it could be hobbies. It could be other things you like to enjoy, or it could be at your job. Just do things better than you did back in 2014. It's a new year, so you gotta reach new heights, and I'm gonna do the same thing. All right, so like I said, this episode is in memory of Stuart Scott. Of course, he passed away this past Sunday, and that's why I'm wearing the Carolina Blue Comic Hero shirt. And he's inspiring me to be a much. He's like one of the influences as far as hosting the show. And I will do all I can to be a better host. And if you're watching this and you work at ESPN, whether you're a Sports Center anchor, whether you're a producer or writer, or even if you're the intern, or you're a janitor at the ESPN compound in Bristol, Connecticut. I hope you're all watching this, and if you're Stuart Scott's 2 daughters, I hope you're watching this. Hey, your dad was a great man, and he will sorely be missed. But just remember, always remember the good times you had with your dad.
I do have some good stuff coming up.
All right, I'm Victor Nolly. I'm the Comic Hero. I'm about to buy these comics, and I'll see you next week. Till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.